The Commons, like an angry hive of bees that want their leader, scatter up and down. Henry VI, Part 2, 1590 to 1591. Dramatis Personae. The King's Party, King Henry VI, Queen Margaret, William de la Pole, Marquis, later Duke of Suffolk, Duke of Gloucester, Dame Eleanor Cobham, Cardinal Beaufort, Duke of Buckingham, Duke of Somerset, Lord Clifford. Duke of York's Party, Richard, Duke of York, Edward, Earls of Salisbury and Warwick. Others, Jack Cade and Sir Humphrey Stafford. Young King Henry VI is overjoyed as Suffolk hands the beautiful Margaret of Anjou to him to be his queen. Lord Protector Gloucester and Warwick are appalled at the political cost. The return of Anjou and Maine to France. York reveals that he aims to take the crown himself. Gloucester's wife Eleanor dreams that he should be king. Margaret and her lover Suffolk determine to bring down Gloucester by setting a trap for his wife. Eleanor is seen consulting with witches who prophesy the king's overthrow. She is arrested. While he is out hawking with the queen at St. Albans, Henry receives news of the arrest of Gloucester's wife. Gloucester resigns as protector. York reveals his claim to the throne to Salisbury and his son Warwick, who pledge allegiance. Gloucester is distressed when Eleanor is arrested. In Parliament, Margaret and Suffolk denounce Gloucester, but Henry defends him feebly. England's territories in France have been lost, while York and Suffolk order the arrest of Gloucester. Henry is upset, but Margaret, York, and the Cardinal agree that Suffolk should have Gloucester murdered. York is sent to Ireland to quell a rebellion, and given an army, he sees his chance. When Henry hears of Gloucester's death, he is distraught and turns against Suffolk. Warwick shows Gloucester's body to prove he was murdered, and accuses Suffolk. Despite Margaret's pleas, Henry banishes Suffolk. Margaret and Suffolk part sadly. After a sea battle, Suffolk is beheaded and his head sent to Margaret. Jack Cade, encouraged by York, begins a peasants' rebellion, killing Stafford and the others. The rebels head to London, where Margaret cradles Suffolk's head. The rebels are persuaded to disperse. Cade hides but is killed. York is landed in England and forced, demanding the arrest of Somerset. York reaches London, intent on claiming the throne. Buckingham and the king assure him that Somerset is in the Tower, but Margaret arrives with Somerset. York explodes and tells Henry that his rule is over. As Salisbury and Warwick switch allegiance to York, war begins. At St. Albans, York kills Clifford and his son Richard kills Somerset. Margaret drags Henry away to London. The Yorkists march on to London to proclaim their victory. In context, ambition, weakness, social order, kingship, setting, London, Kent, Blackheath, St. Albans. Sources. 1548, one source for the play is Edward Hall's The Union of the Two Noble and Illustrious Families of Lancaster and York. 1587 is for many of his history plays. Shakespeare also drew on Raphael Holinshed's Chronicles of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Legacy. 1591. Evidence suggests that Henry VI Part 2 was first staged in 1591 or 1592. 1864. Performance to celebrate Shakespeare's tercentenary at the Surrey Theatre in London. 1963. John Barton and Peter Hall at the RSC combined the three Henry VIII plays and Richard III into the two-part The Wars of the Roses. 1987, English Shakespeare Company production directed by Michael Bogdanov stresses the play's political issues. It tours Japan, Italy, and Australia. 2001, a production combines Henry VI and Richard III, their tetralogy, into one at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. 2012, National Theatre of Albania performs the play as part of the Globe to Globe Festival at the Globe London. Henry VI Part 2 is often considered the strongest of Shakespeare's three plays that had Henry VI, who historically was the King of England from the age of 9 months in 1422 until 1461, and again from 1470 to 1471. The play focuses on the dark period in English history leading up to a Yorkist challenge in the Lancastrian monarchy that spiraled into the civil and dynastic war known as the Wars of the Roses. This first of Shakespeare's great plays about English history written before Henry VI Part 1, may have first been performed in 1591 and was printed as early as 1584 in a quarto version under an extraordinarily lengthy title, which was presumably the publisher's publicity blurb rather than Shakespeare's own title. Most people refer to it as the second part of Henry VI, as it is entitled in the 1623 folio edition, or Henry VI Part 2. Making history. Although the rawness of the verse shows the young Shakespeare still developing his craft, its attraction lies in the way it brings a panoply of shadowy historical figures and events vividly to life and shapes them into a gripping narrative. Characters from history, from the brutally ambitious Richard of York to the strong-willed Margaret of Anjou, attain such intensity each time the play is performed that it is difficult for historians to escape Shakespeare's recreation of them. Using the poetic style and stage techniques of his contemporaries, Shakespeare creates a heightened, emotionally charged drama, and he reshapes the material in his historical sources to create a pattern to the events, drawing out themes of kingship and ambition. Recasting Cade. One of the most vivid characters in the play is Jack Cade, the lively rabble-rouser who, egged on by York, stirs up the common folk of Kent to rebellion and leads them on a terrifying assault in London. But the Cade in Henry VI Part 2 is not the well-educated young man described in Holinshed's Chronicles. He is a conflation of the historical Jack Cade, who led a rebellion in 1450, and an earlier rebel, Wat Tyler, who led the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. In the play, Cade instructs the rebels to hang a clerk because he can write, and Dick the Butcher calls, "Let's kill all the lawyers." Act 4, Scene 2, line 78. But it was Tyler's rebellion, according to Holinshed, that condemned literacy and lawyers for being socially divisive, not Cade's. Shakespeare mixes the two, emphasizing the chaos that ensues when proper social and political relationships are cast aside, like an angry hive of bees that want their leader. Act 3, Scene 2, lines 125 to 126. However, Cade is no egalitarian. Change will happen when Cade is king himself, as king I will be. Act 4, Scene 2, lines 71 and 72. An echo of York's claims to kingship. However, it would be wrong to assume that Shakespeare is out of sympathy with the plight of the poor, whose suffering in such unhinged times is made very clear. It is great sin to swear unto a sin, but greater sin to keep a sinful oath. Salisbury, Act 5, Scene 1. The empty center. At the heart of this breakdown in relationships is King Henry himself. He wants to be a peacemaker, but York and Queen Margaret condemn his church-like humors. Act 1, Scene 1, line 247, is unfit for the crown and describe his obsession with prayer as unmanly. Ultimately, his piety becomes simply vacillation, and his indecision makes him increasingly irrelevant. "What are you made of?" Margaret cries desperately when they are caught in the Battle of Saint-Bonbons. "You'll nor fight nor fly." Act 5, Scene 4, line 3. "Can we outrun the heavens?" King Henry, Act 5, Scene 4. The emptiness at the center creates a power vacuum that sucks in and destroys all but the strongest. Eleanor, the good Duke of Gloucester's wife, who was caught conspiring with witches, the Queen's unfortunate lover Suffolk, was beheaded at sea. Suffolk's departure is one of the most touching scenes in the play. He is a brutal schemer responsible for entrapping Eleanor and arranging the murder of Gloucester, yet their parting is poignant. "To France, sweet Suffolk, let me hear from thee. From wheresoever thou art in this world's globe, I'll have an iris that shall find thee out." Act 3, Scene 2, lines 409 to 412. When Margaret cradles Suffolk's decapitated head in her lap, it is a moment of true anguish. Henry's weakness has unleashed the demons, and at the end of the play, the ruthless ambition of York and his sons chillingly takes control. Performance history. Despite the weakness of the character of King Henry, who vacillates and hesitates, the powerful parts of Richard of York and Queen Margaret provide challenging roles that dominate and drive the play. Many directors have presented the Henry VI trilogy along with Richard III, creating a tetralogy on the Wars of the Roses. Often the same actor plays the same character across the plays, as Chuck Ubuji Picture did in 2008, playing Henry VI for the RSC. Well-regarded theatrical performances include the 1963 John Barton and Peter Hall adaptation of the RSC titled The Wars of the Roses, with Peggy Ashcroft as Margaret and Donald Sinden as the Duke of York. These productions highlighted the political and social unrest prevalent in the plays, which reflect the civil upheaval of the 1960s, a period of momentous events such as the erection of the Berlin Wall and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Acclaimed television productions include a 1981 BBC version of all four plays directed by Jean Howell, which stayed very close to the play.